And I'm still trying to comprehend how Halo is coming to PlayStation.
Halo is on PlayStation going forward, starting with Halo Campaign Evolved.
I felt a great disturbance in the Force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced.
Alright everybody, welcome back to another Xvault gaming video. Xvault here. Today we're going to go over your next dose of the salty batch files, and if those thought we were done with the Halo salt, we are not. We're back at it, a part 3, because we're not moving on from that quite yet. They want to brush that under the rug like that never happened, and that the salt's not there, and that they're trying to look forward and push past it by all sorts of narratives possible, but we'll get to that eventually. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. Alright, so like I was saying, what we're going to do is get right to the theme of the matter here, the meat of the matter, whatever you want to call it, and we're going to get to the Halo Salt. It is that monumental. Guys, I don't think a lot of folks are really putting enough pressure on the fact that this is huge. This is a giant pillar of Xbox, the IP that started it all for Xbox, essentially, and kept them on the map and kept that hype there and the quality behind the games in general for them when it's in regards to Halo, Gears, and Forza, right? But let's start off with the salt. We'll get to that here in a minute here, but as you can see under the thread here, COD Warfare, and there it is, the complete death of Xbox. There is simply no point in owning Xbox hardware. Now, the last bit of soul has been ripped away. Thanks for the memories, Xbox P3 Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, and then of course D-Jet here singles out Sarah Bond, calling her the R word here. And, do we see how Phil Spencer just kind of gets excused from the whole situation and mess? It's always everybody else. And I'm not saying Sarah doesn't have a hand in it. I'm not saying Matt Booty, Aaron Greenberg, and etc. don't have hands in it. Satya has hands in it. Everybody has their hand in it in one way, shape, or form. And so obviously this does tear at the threads, right? So anybody just kind of brushing this under the rug, it's not a big deal. The salt's not there. We're looking forward to that next gen console, guys, that is a PC that you can do something with right now. But that's what they're latching on to, the diehards anyways, where you have actual fans right here that are very upset about it, rightfully so. But the salt is there. As we continue here now, risk it for the busted can of biscuits here, right? This is 100% basically not okay. Xbox has truly lost its way. And this is under his little mini thread of under the PlayStation announcement and showcasing Halo, right? And he states below that, the platform is not growing. The revenue is because they didn't have the foresight to do what they should have, which was make everything exclusive. I don't get on the same page as Busted Can of Biscuits very often, but the one thing that him and I do agree on is exclusives. Exclusives matter. Exclusives always have mattered. They will always matter for as long as foreseeably possible, until that for some reason shifts and has to shift, and hopefully it doesn't, because there's too many pros to exclusives. And the Xbox fan base was essentially, especially the talking heads, chiming in, as we've covered multiple times on this video, on why exclusives mattered and how big of a deal it was for Xbox to have those exclusives, whether it was the staples, the pillars, the Halo, Gears, Forza, whether it was anything else under the ZeniMax umbrella, the possibility of the ABK umbrella for making exclusives. They were all on board until it was no longer a thing, and then all of a sudden it was never a good thing. And of course, the PC elitist race are the ones to chime in because they want everything. They feel they're on the superior platform. They deserve everything. That's why they dislike exclusives. They dislike having to wait. But they will also come out and tell you. They will tell you, I don't mind waiting. There's plenty of backlog. I don't mind waiting. Bull crap. I'm sorry, but life is way too short to be waiting 1 to 2 years for titles, game titles, to be coming to a hobby that you do enjoy and love. To me, I don't want to wait. It's not a FOMO thing necessarily. Life is too short. Here one day, gone the next. I'm seeing a bunch of people in their early 40s pass away all the time, whether it be casual, normal folk or celebrities or whatever the case is, passing away all the time. Your next day is not guaranteed. So when I have a hobby and I'm here on this earth to play my hobby, enjoy life, I don't want to wait if I don't have to wait. That's just me personally, but let's continue on. let's continue on. So again, Risk It, same page for once, but he was part of the problem, right? But as we move on, under that thread as well from the Halo thread, Alejandro, we lost Halo, Forza, and Gears. We lost Xbox. Great job, Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, Aaron Greenberg, Satya, Stein. That's another, right? The Activision deal should have never happened. Xbox players were happy having a unique console to play those games. Now it's nothing. Exactly. So this speaks to everything I just recently said, right? Exclusives matter. Content matters to an ecosystem. All right? When you invest your time, effort, money, etc., into a brand, into an ecosystem, you want to make sure that you're taken care of as a consumer, to have the games that you want, to have that nuance of like, you know what? I feel good about my investment here, my time, money, etc., right? I feel good about all this happening because I have what I want. We have exclusives. I feel a little more valued as a consumer, right? Corporations and businesses are not our best friends. We understand that. But what do we get out of it as a consumer? We want to be looking out for ourselves. And part of that is making sure we have that quality content that is akin to that ecosystem. These folks are not happy. They're salty. Again, rightfully so. As we continue here, right? EMEA. Xbox is officially dead. It has zero identity anymore. Microsoft has completely given up being unique. Never buying anything from Xbox or Microsoft ever again. F Microsoft, F Phil Spencer, and F all you corporate simps. Yeah, but again, Emmy, I don't know you that well, whether on social media or any other aspect, but I just do want to preface this by stating, were you part of the problem though? Were you not calling stuff out? Were you listening to the talking heads, the shills, the frauds, the grifters? Were you doing that? Or were you actively at least voicing your opinion, whether it did anything or not? At least you put some effort in there. I just want people like Emietta here to take a step back and ask yourselves, did I voice my opinion? Did I voice my concerns? Did I reach out and tag the right people in enough time way back? Not talking even these last 6 months, 8 months. Well before that, when we all seen the direction that Xbox was possibly heading, did you do anything about that? Since you're part of social media right here, and I see that for Emia, and again, anybody else that's in the Xbox camp here, did you take a step back and truly understand what you could possibly be losing? Were you cheering on and cheerleading the ABK acquisition so soon after a ZeniMax acquisition, right? We have to understand that even myself, I could use common sense, I could put 2 and 2 together, but even I was not, at the time when I was covering some of this ABK stuff, I didn't delve too hard into the financial aspects of it, the analyst aspects of it, because I don't know anything in regards to that. But I can voice my concern, and I did, and I said, look, that's great if they can get this off the ground. They're going to have to take a big hit, right? When you get that, and I've said this multiple times, you're going to have to take a huge hit and understand you're going to lose for quite some time. Money, income, revenue, profit. Why? Because you bought the biggest acquisition out there. It broke records, right? It was the biggest one out there, especially in regards to gaming. Maybe Tencent did something else, right? But again, you're going to have to take that hit and understand you have to play catch up later. They have the funds and means to do it. And I think that's what a lot of the fans and fanboys and stuff were hoping for. But they sat there and they didn't want to wait that long. You could sit there and make those games exclusive. Everything under the umbrella, as I said, ZeniMax, ABK, continue to have the IPs they had, stick them exclusives if you want, and make sure the quality's there too. You can't just put out crap, right? Low tier crap. You can't do that. You need to do that. You need to run it efficiently. You need to do it. You're going to take a hit. Keep the exclusives there. And that would have garnered you new fans, additional fans that have multiple systems again, whatever the case is. It would pay off. You just had to be patient. They didn't do that. But again, I didn't think it was going to tank this quick. I knew it was going to tank. It was going to be a problem. But I didn't think this quick. And then they went away from the exclusives. And then we have folks like Emia here, right? But let's continue on here. Some food for thought for you, right? In this thread here, Edward. Halo plus PS5 upside down face. This was a humiliation. That's as far as I go with you all. Fair enough. I'm glad there was a line that they crossed that you didn't want to stick with. I commend that. I respect that. Very upset here, obviously, right, Edward? And again, I would be too. Hopefully you stick to your word here and don't show anything like that. And we'll go over that in just a minute here. That's going to fit a theme here, but hopefully you stand true to your word. That's all I'm going to say to that there. But let's continue here. We got one more post where we have a couple videos here, right? Zeta Phoenix 03. Zeta Phoenix 03. Okay. Then we should get Spider-Man and God of War, or Mario and Pokemon and Zelda. No Xbox. Oh, wait. But I think they mean on Xbox. No, wait. That's never going to happen. Xbox players are effed. But hey, joke's on us, I guess. Sure, exclusives ending is a good thing, yes. But we all know the other companies aren't going to do it. That's just it. That's not going to happen. This isn't a friendly zone where you're lending each other's IPs or we're playing Kumbaya. Again, the PC elitist race here can jump in and sit there and say everything needs to be everywhere. And even some of these fanboys now on Xbox side are saying the games need to be everywhere. The two camps, the two fan bases that are not the true fan bases, I might add, and I'll go over that, is Nintendo and PlayStation are not saying that. Why? Because there's good quality exclusives. You feel valued in the ecosystem. You feel valued as a consumer, and on we go, right? It's that simple. The ones that are feeling like they're getting shafted, they're not getting everything that they want, are the ones chiming in that exclusives don't matter. It should be everywhere. It's bullcrap. It's outdated. Whatever you want to state your case with, that's incorrect. You're upset because you're not getting what you want. You're jealous of the Nintendo first-party games. You're jealous of not playing the PlayStation first-party games on your platform. And, again, PC's going to chime in again. Well, we get some of your PlayStation ones. We got the Xbox ones. Yeah, but you're still upset that you don't get day and date every single PlayStation game still at this time. You're hoping, wishing, and banking on that it will be a day and date thing. That can happen in the future. There's a possibility. How soon, I don't know. And we'll have to see what happens with Xbox vacating. The console space is wide open. Nintendo's doing their own thing, right? With their niche concept, with their handheld, and it doesn't have to be super powerful. They just need the games. They have the ecosystem. PlayStation's looking at no competition in regards to the console space. The Xbox hybrid, if you will, which I think is going to be mainly a PC, is not going to be a competitor to PlayStation as well. And people are going to say, well, Jim Ryan said, we have him quoted stating the PC is a competitor. He probably thought that. And during that time, he probably thought that. And in a way, they probably are to a point. But if you are putting your games over there in any shape or form, then apparently they're not competition, because why would you give it to your competition unless you're fully bowing out, right? Those funds aren't necessarily needed. It's helped, and a business and corporation wants more money. The more money, the better. But if you can balance the two, have timed exclusives, whatever the case is, or no exclusives on certain platforms, whatever the case may be, much later, whatever. There's a lot of things you can concoct here. There's a lot of variables involved, all that sort of stuff there. So we'll just have to wait and see. But again, ultimately, the ones that don't care about exclusives are the ones that aren't getting the exclusives anymore. The ones that don't get all the games. They want all the games. I'm in a superior ecosystem now. I want all those games. It was always stupid. Nah, they always mattered. Exclusives always mattered, always will. I stand by that. And if that ever not ends up being the case, whatever the case is, then so be it. But as long as I can, and as long as we can, we should be cheerleading exclusives because they matter. I've been over that. I have a video on the channel that goes over why exclusives matter in more detail than what I am now. Now, that being said, let's get to our two videos here. The first one, you'll recognize the gentleman here, where he's from, all that stuff, when he's from, all that stuff here. But let's take a quick look at what he had to say in this video here. Here you go.
It's
Check
coming.
this out.
I knew it.
Now, to me, Halo is sacred. It's one of those games. And, it took me a while to get my head around everything. And a lot of people in my Discord were saying it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. I know people are underplaying it and trying to brush it aside. No, it's a big deal. To me, Halo was the last thing holding on to Xbox's identity. I don't believe that they care anymore. But basically what Microsoft is saying now, Halo cannot survive. This is what I understand from this. Halo cannot survive without PlayStation. That is the message coming out. This is the social media manager for Xbox saying, we as a company with Halo cannot survive without PlayStation.
All right. And as you can see, right, he was pretty solid. He was pretty satisfied. He was pretty stuck on the fact that, if anything, guys, Halo's not going anywhere. That's the staple. That's the main pillar that is holding Xbox together with glue, notoriety, quality. The reason to own an Xbox is Halo. You can say owning an Xbox is due to multiple other games too, because maybe you're a big fan of that was, at the time, only available on Xbox. Maybe you're a huge Redfall fan, so console-wise, big fan of Redfall. You want that to stay, right? All jokes aside, but it's ultimately they thought for sure. Halo doesn't. That's unprecedented. Again, it's like Sonic one day eventually arriving on a Nintendo console, in which it did with Sonic Adventure. When Sega and Dreamcast went and tanked under and they had to pivot, you know, they couldn't pivot to PC at that time. That just wasn't where the action was at. It was still very console-centric, and they had to go third-party fully, and there you're seeing Sonic on a Nintendo-branded console. A Sega first-party staple IP heading on a competitor's platform. Do we see how huge this is for PlayStation to receive Halo, guys? Do we see how huge that is? They didn't think it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. I told you guys it was going to happen multiple times, whether it be on social media, whether it be on these videos. It was coming. It was going to happen. It was almost a certain 100% bullseye as soon as Forza, like I mentioned before, was announced for PlayStation. It was all but said and done, right? It was just a matter of when, right? And we knew it wasn't going to be like a 5-year off ordeal. It was 1 to 3 years. And in this case, about a year out, right? Maybe a year and a half out from when Forza's release was officially on PlayStation, right? But yeah, pretty crazy, pretty crazy. This is a huge deal, huge deal. Now, shifting over to our last video real quick. This is Kid Smooth. This is what I've been talking about in the previous video about what he's talking about with Xbox as a brand, as him as a fan, how he'll support it, when he'll support it. But before I talk about that too much here, check this out.
Forza is over there. Gears is over there. Halo was obviously next, and but for me, it's like, okay, fuck it. You kill my platform of choice, you kill my brand. Well, I'm gonna go down with the shit, but I ain't supporting this hobby. I'm not supporting it in the way you guys want me to support it. I ain't buying no damn games. Social media, Microsoft, Amy Hood, Satya, Alien, AI, Nadella. That's it. Going down with ship. I am retiring. So I don't know what this means for my channel, my online presence, what it does for videos moving forward, what hobbies I might pick up. But pretty much at the end, this whole Xbot phase is completely over. I have retired. I'm done. Fuck them all.
All right, and just like that, right? So clearly Kid Smooth is upset. I knew he would be upset. This was the last straw standing for Kid Smooth and multiple other fanboys or just normal fans of the Xbox ecosystem, brand, console, all that good stuff. But as I mentioned in the previous video, right, he explicitly says, like, I'm done. I'm not supporting them, but I'm going down with the ship. But not like you guys are going down with the ship, talking about other fanboys, right? Like I said, I already kind of went over this the last video. No matter what, even myself, the more Xbox is talked about, there's no such thing as bad publicity as long as it's being talked about. It's some form of publicity, right? whether it's negative or whatever the case. It's in the topic, it's in the ecosystem. They're getting a lot of notoriety, probably not in the greatest ways or fashion, but it is getting them talked about as they're just not being mundane and under the mud, and they fuddled kind of like how Ouya or something did, which it wouldn't because Ouya is a much smaller brand. It did not last a centimeter's length of time, right, so to speak, but then Xbox has. But, it's just, you can take the fanboy out of Xbox, but you can't take the Xbox out of the fanboy, if that makes sense, right? And I'm specifically talking about Kid Smooth and some others, right? I would be utterly and totally shocked if he, takes a pivot, and he does kind of remove himself from that, but I just don't see him doing that. I see him following the PC route. He'll support Xbox first-party games. He'll fanboy over those and play those more than any other PlayStation first-party game on PC anyways. So again, yes, he's upset, he's hurt, he's doing all this stuff, he's talking out against it, so at least there's that. It's not full-on shill mode like I'm seeing these other guys, and by the way, we will wrap up this video here with this section, but what I'm going to talk about here real quick is the fact that I've seen so many fanboys on social media and others that they're still just going with the narrative. Again, they're trying to sweep this like this isn't a big deal, guys. 3 parts here, and I could go on to 12 parts if I wanted for Halo. We're going to take a quick break with the following video of not talking specifically about Halo, but this is a huge deal. They're sweeping it under the rug. It's not a big deal, guys. It doesn't matter. Xbox's next console, this hybrid console, they don't even understand it's going to be fully PC. It's mostly going to be like a 90% PC piece of operation here. We already have Windows jacking up the ROG Ally X here, right? Jacking things up, using RAM, memory, this, that, and the other. It's not fluid. We'll have to wait and see if this new pre-built PC, I'm going to start calling it, for Xbox, ends up being more fluid. They work out. Maybe this was a test your water situation with the ROG Ally X on how to approach it, how to work things out. Maybe they'll get things running a little smoother on this pre-built PC for next gen. If they do, it's still a PC, whether it's smoother or not. There's a lot of stuff you have to deal with in the PC ecosystem, guys. I know this because I played PC for so many years, simultaneous with consoles. I played PC from back in the day, from when RTSs was the new scene, from Red Alert 1, 2, and everything after that, to StarCraft, to to Warcraft in general, 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, MMOs later on, like EverQuest and World of Warcraft and so many others, right? Guild Wars. I played them all. I played platformers. I played 3D platforms and action games. I played through the PlayStation 3 generation simultaneously with my PS3 with a PC. I still dabble in PC right now, but it's just not fun or good or user-friendly to me. As somewhat of an experiment, because my son needed a really good laptop for school, I gave him a pristine premium gaming laptop as well. On top of that, that could do everything. And I said, here you go. You have some Steam games, you have some Epic games, you have some free-to-play games, you have some other games as well. This is for school, but also, outside of that, feel free to use this as much as you want for gaming. Barely touched it. And not because he feels like he has to, but it just goes to the fact of, look, it's not as user and fluid friendly as most people like. And if you like PC, there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not saying you can't game on PC or you shouldn't. I'm saying it doesn't transition well to everybody. So the moral of the story is, for those that don't want to game on PC, like myself, it's a last resort for me. I prefer console gaming to this day, to this second. And for that shift to happen for Xbox, to make their user base shift over, sneakily, right? They're not outright saying it, but sneakily, because a lot of these guys don't know, they're unaware, or they just don't care, whatever the case is. And they're going to be pushed over to the PC ecosystem, and they may not like that. They're going to be bought false pretenses, right? On how that ecosystem is, how fluid it is, how easy it is. And for some of you, I'm sure it is easy, but there is a lot of the fan bases out there for gaming that don't understand computers, that don't understand troubleshooting, that don't understand the little things. And that's what is going to be a problem here. It's going to be very interesting to see who transitions and how well. But at the end of the day, like I said, the sweeping under the rug and using the excuse that you can play PlayStation games on this next PC, pre-built PC, is not a W. Go do that right now. You don't need to wait for an Xbox branded pre-built PC in order to jump over. You can start your next gen journey right now. Simple as that, guys. If you feel that strongly about it and you feel playing those PlayStation first party games on a PC is a W, go do it right now. Start your next gen journey. I wish you the best. That being said, we will wrap up the video here, folks. I appreciate it if you stuck around for the entirety of the video. Thank you so much. I think this was a great one. We had a lot to discuss, go over, great examples, great little talk here, and just talking about the truth. If you haven't already, definitely leave a like and comment down below. Would love to hear from you, of course. If you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing, helping out a small content creator like myself. Feel free to use those hype points. That helps me out as well, so thank you again for that. In addition to that, if you want more of the truth, you want to have fun, you want someone being real with you, that's what we're here to do. So thank you so much. And of course, at the end of the day, just remember, don't be a salty batch. And we'll see y'all next time on the next Xvault Gaming video. And until then, take care.